Forgiveness is the brush that clears yesterday's mistakes, making room for today's masterpiece. Unknown author. Welcome to the Time to Forgive podcast. Each episode is about one subject: forgiveness. When we can forgive others, forgive ourselves, and be forgiven, we'll be one step closer to true peace. It may be challenging, but with an open heart and mind, it's possible. I'm your host, Portia West. Let's begin. Forgiveness has been the subject of numerous films over the years. With 90 minutes, no matter what the genre, audiences see characters who discover they can forgive or be forgiven. Today, film critic Dave Bell will share 5 films that remind us movies can both entertain and offer a compelling perspective on forgiveness through storytelling. Dave Bell, so glad to have you join us today. We've worked on projects together before, so this is more of a reunion. How are you doing?
Doing well, Portia. It's really great to be here with you.
Great. Well, let's get started. You've got 5 films that all have the theme of forgiveness in them. Forgiveness, is such a heavy subject matter. I would think that most of them are probably dramas.
Actually, forgiveness in film happens across all genres: comedies, musicals, animation. Sometimes the most powerful moment of forgiveness comes in an unexpected place, and sometimes that's humor rather than pathos.
I love that answer, Dave. Okay, give us your first film on forgiveness.
It's Philomena. This film is about Philomena Lee, played by Judi Dench and directed by Stephen Frears, based on the 2009 book by Stephen Sixsmith. In the movie, Sixsmith is played by Stephen Coogan. Philomena has been searching for her son, who was given away for adoption 50 years ago, and Sixsmith, a journalist, is enlisted to help. In 1951, Philomena became pregnant from a man she didn't know. Her family, not wanting to face the scandal, sent her to live at Sean Ross Abbey in Ireland. After she gave birth, she was forced to work in the convent laundry for 4 years. She was allowed limited contact to her son until the nuns gave her son away for adoption without her knowledge or a chance to say goodbye. There are so many amazing facets to this story, and I don't want to give them away. It's an amazing story, worthy of your time if you would invest into it. But I want to jump to the reason this is on my list for forgiveness films. Toward the end of the film, Sixsmith confronts the nuns, accusing them of lies and deceit to keep Philomena from reuniting with her son out of self-righteousness. The nuns are unrepentant, saying this is her penance for having a child out of wedlock. Sixsmith demands an apology, saying the action was unchristian. He is left speechless, however, when Philomena forgives the nun. The forgiveness in this film shown as a strength, not a weakness. Sixsmith is angry at the injustice done to Philomena, but Philomena is choosing to let go, to forgive. The forgiveness is an end to itself. She doesn't do it to make herself feel better or to seek an apology. She does it simply because it feels like the right thing to do. This is a Herculean task. She sets aside the taking of her child, years of child labor, decades of deception and utter lack of remorse from the nuns, and finds her spiritual capacity to forgive, even in the face of anger and desire for justice. She enacts a deliberate act of grace, favoring her emotional freedom over his anger.
Wow, I like that one. I haven't seen that one. I'm going to want to check that out. What next, Dave?
The next film is A Man Called Otto. This is a 2022 American film directed by Mark Forrest. It is a remake of a Swedish film called A Man Called Ove. The American version stars Tom Hanks as Otto. The story revolves around Otto, a bitter old man who reluctantly gets involved with his neighbors. As the story unfolds, we learn more about Otto and why he is so unpleasant. And as we do, he starts to unfold and change in unexpected ways. So why is this on my list of films of forgiveness? Sometimes forgiveness is forgiveness of yourself. Otto is stuck in a deep state of grief and intense bitterness. His central theme is his journey to forgive himself for living while someone important to him died. and that moving on does not betray her memory. The film highlights how a communal, found family can break down barriers and repair perceived wrongs. A neighbor, with her persistent kindness, wears Otto down, and his gruff, hard built notions of the world and its flaws begin to melt. Otto finds the world unpredictable and extremely bothersome, but he learns to accept the world's chaotic nature and sees he can't control everything. He also learns empathy. He has always judged everyone as idiots, but as the film progresses, he begins to understand other people's struggles and begins showing compassion for those marginalized or different. One of the more touching moments in the film is the forgiveness of a decades-long grudge with his best friend Reuben. See the film and you will understand. All of the acts of forgiveness and kindness move Otto from wanting to harm himself at the beginning of the film to being an integral part of the community and a cherished protector and friend of the neighborhood.
That's a good pick. A Man Called Otto. I actually did see that one. I loved it. What's your third recommendation?
I'll give you a hint. What do you think when I say Puxatawny Phil?
Groundhog Day?
Correct. I can only imagine you are stuck in your own time loop if you are unfamiliar with Groundhog Day. But briefly, the film is about weatherman Phil Connors, played by Bill Murray, a cynical, arrogant, selfish person who finds himself reliving the same day, Groundhog Day, over and over until, forgive the pun, he sees his own shadow. This comedy from 1993, directed by Harold Ramis, seems an odd choice to pick as a forgiveness film, but similar to A Man Called Otto, it's about redemption and self-transformation, if you will, to begin a new day. Phil is stuck in his own purgatory. He doesn't care for the Groundhog Day celebration, but he is cursed to live it over and over. Eventually, he realizes he is there until he does right, or fixes himself. He must be a loving, caring person. His old self must cease to be to find true peace and be reborn a new person. He begins to help others. He betters himself. He learns to live in the moment. So what is the actual forgiveness of the film? The arrogance and ego die and are forgotten by others, replaced by good deeds. He is forgiven by others for previous misconduct and by himself with an awareness and a pledge to do better. The film argues that forgiving past limitations, he can be transformed and born into a new day.
Okay, that's great. What's your fourth recommendation?
It's Akira, a 1952 drama by acclaimed director Akira Kurosawa. The film is partially inspired by the Leo Tolstoy novella, The Death of Ivan Ilyich. If subtitles are not your thing, there is an English remake called Living, starring Bill Nighy from 2022, that is quite good, but doesn't really compare to the master filmmaker Kurosawa. A bureaucrat, Kanjay Watanabe, has been a public works officer for 30 years, and he's close to retirement when he learns he has a terminal disease. He goes on a quest to find meaning to his life and make something that lasts. He takes on a project to build a children's park that has been mired in red tape for years. The last third of the film is his friends at his wake, trying to contemplate what changed him. It's a brilliant bit of storytelling. The forgiveness in this film is far less about reconciliation and more about finding release from resentment and finding purpose. He gives forgiveness to the incompetent system and to an uncaring family who desires only his money. The system he forgives by taking it upon himself to fix it, and the family he recognizes his own part in making his son the way he is and forgives himself for being the person that helped to build that with his lack of connection to his son. The film suggests that external validation is unnecessary if actions are true and noble. Ultimately, the human condition is forgiven for only appreciating life when faced with death. For Watanabe to live, he must forgive past regrets and focus on selfless acts.
All right, Dave, tell us which film rounds out your top 5 on the theme of forgiveness.
This film has had over 100 versions and is a true classic, Portia. Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. You can only be a Scrooge if you haven't seen at least one version of A Christmas Carol in your life. This is one of the original forgiveness stories. It's been adapted to silent shorts, animated films, television series, and even a Bollywood version. The first being Scrooge, or Marley's Ghost, from 1901, all the way to an upcoming Disney film telling the story from Marley's perspective. For the unenlightened, it is the story of Ebenezer Scrooge, a greedy miser who hates Christmas, but who is transformed after the visitation of three ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future. Forgiveness in this film is a bridge from isolation and redemption. It emphasizes to experience grace, one must actively forgive others, making amends for cruelty, and more importantly, forgive yourself. It is a cautionary tale about what happens when forgiveness and connections are neglected.
Dave, this is a great list. Now, a few of the movies I've already seen, and the ones I haven't, I'm going to make sure I step out and find them and watch. Wow. Thank you so much for joining us. Your knowledge of films and music is so immense. We're going to have you come back and give us perhaps some songs on forgiveness.
No problem. Anytime, Portia. I look forward to it.
Thank you, Dave. Thanks again to Dave Bell, who reminds us that even though art imitates life, it also provides inspiration and can help us heal. I'm Portia West, and thank you for watching, and remember to forgive as you have been forgiven.